How luxurious is Ra-Ra's life? A single manicure needs to look like 3 diamonds. She travels with her pet dog, buys sunglasses with her future mother-in-law. Ra-Ra shows off, although her mother-in-law isn't very happy. She hears that Ra-Ra's father plans to gift a whole hospital building as a dowry and puts up with it. But unexpectedly, Ra-Ra is terrible at math. This is Ra-Ra's wedding. Her brother, while delivering the bouquet, accidentally bumped into a food tray. The bouquet ended up in the hands of a handsome part-timer named Sunwoo. The young man asks Sunwoo for help to bring the bouquet to the wedding scene. Sunwoo wanted to refuse, but thinking the bride might walk down the hall empty-handed, takes the bouquet and runs over. When he opens the door, he sees Ra-Ra sitting in her wedding dress inside the room. He stared blankly, promising to keep quiet. As he tried to step forward to hand the bouquet to Ra-Ra, Ra-Ra pinched her nose, signaling him to stop, and told him to place the bouquet on the chair beside him, refusing to take it directly. Sunwoo approached her indirectly and staring at her. Ra-Ra hit Sunwoo, which caused Sunwoo's nose to bleed. Ra-Ra moved forward to help him wipe it, but Sunwoo pushed her away, only to accidentally spoil her dress with bloodstain. Seeing Ra-Ra about to cry, Sunwoo hurriedly calmed her, warned her not to ruin her makeup. He then grabbed scissors and tools to fix Ra-Ra's wedding dress himself. Under Sunwoo's careful work, the dress looked as good as new, and soon Ra-Ra was ready to walk down. But something was amiss. Ra-Ra's father hadn't arrived yet. As it turned out, her father had received a call on the way with news of his company's bankruptcy, which led to a heart attack, and he passed away. When Ra-Ra's mother-in-law heard, she was struck by shock and immediately took her son away, breaking off the engagement. Everyone in the hall was stunned. While Ra-Ra was still unaware of what was happening, someone informed her that her father was critically ill. It was a tragic day for the once wealthy daughter. On her wedding day, her father's company went bankrupt. Her father collapsed and died, and her groom left, ending their engagement. Overnight, Ra-Ra lost everything. Now all she had left was a car and her dog. Ra-Ra went to a real estate agent to rent an apartment, but the agent insisted she pay a full year's rent up front, or she would lose it to another renter. Ra-Ra spent her last savings of 100 million on the rent, and the agent's eyes sparkled at the sight. Ra-Ra settled in, but a social media account named Dodo Sol Sol Lala Sol kept leaving comments, asking how she was doing, sparking her curiosity about the person behind it. Then, the real estate agent suddenly showed up, claiming to need access to check the house. Only then did Ra-Ra realize she had been scammed. Rushing to the agent's office, she found a crowd of other victims. Now homeless, Ra-Ra found herself living on the streets, eating dog food, and staring at her father's photo. She began to sing unconsciously, and suddenly remembered that Dodo Sol Sol Lala Sol was a musical platform she used to share with her father. Ra-Ra realized that the mysterious account must belong to someone who knew her father, and that person might have the inheritance her father left for her. With that thought, she quickly drove toward the location posted by the account. On the way, her dog suddenly got car-sick and vomited. Distracted, Ra-Ra looked back to check on the dog and didn't notice the bicycle in front of her, crashing into it. She tried to regain control. She crashed hard into a pillar, breaking the windows and losing consciousness. The person she crashed into was Sunwoo, who, recognizing her as the bride from the wedding, rushed to help and took her to the hospital. Unbeknownst to Ra-Ra, Sunwoo wasn't an ordinary person. He was actually the eldest son of a wealthy family, hiding from his mother's search team who had been trying to find him. At the hospital, doctors noticed Sunwoo was also injured and advised him to get treatment, but fearing exposure, he refused and treated himself in the restroom. He anxiously checked on Ra-Ra, and the doctor informed him that while her injuries weren't severe, she might not be able to play the piano again due to damage to her hands, a devastating news for a professional pianist like her. When Ra-Ra regained consciousness, she was shocked to see Sunwoo and immediately looked for her dog, fearing it was dead. Thankfully, Sunwoo had already taken the dog to a pet hospital for treatment, and Ra-Ra, moved by his kindness, began to cry. Sunwoo gently wiped her tears and listened as she shared her story. That night, he helped her check her phone, only to find a message from the mysterious account, Dodo Sol Sol Lala Sol, saying they were on a business trip and wouldn't return for over a month. Not long after, Sunwoo asked Ra-Ra for 500,000, as compensation for the accident. However, being broke, she begged him to let her repay it later, and even asked for his help with daily chores, such as adjusting his pillows and closing his curtains. Sunwoo, unable to refuse, became her caretaker. The next day, Ra dramatically complained to the doctor about being in too much pain to sleep, although the nurse informed her that she had actually slept deeply through the night. Later, Sunwoo went to the pet hospital to pay for Ra's dog's medical expenses. However, when he saw the exorbitant bill, which included various fees totaling over $1 million, he was left shocked. This was only the current medical expense. After discharge, there would also be hospital fees, adding another large debt to what Ra already owed Sunwoo. Since she was completely out of money, she kept borrowing more from him. Despite his frustration, Sunwoo continued to support her. Ra's fellow patients couldn't understand why the victim was taking care of the one who caused the trouble, and they began to view Sunwoo as a bit of a pushover. As expected, Ra soon asked him to help with more things, complaining that her princess hands were too delicate to do them herself. Even when she became emotional, tearing up and feeling sorry for herself, Sunwoo didn't get angry. Instead, he patiently brought her water, to the silent dismay of the other patients. To cover all the costs, Sunwoo began working various part-time jobs. First, he took a job at a Western-style restaurant so he could bring Ra fresh juice and salads. Despite Ra's family losing their fortune, she still expected to live like a princess. Next, he worked at a cosmetics store to bring her beauty products. He even bought a second-hand bicycle with his earnings. One day at the hospital, the doctor began to suspect there was more to Sunwoo than met the eye, wondering why he was so devoted to caring for Ra. When asked, Sunwoo denied knowing her from before and left quickly. Once he got home, Sunwoo started to worry that his true identity might be revealed, and the doctor happened to be a former member of another wealthy family. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Ra hadn't brushed her hair in 10 days. Frustrated, Sunwoo's sisters picked up a brush, not only untangling her hair, but styling it beautifully. Admiring herself in the mirror, Ra started to praise her, marveling at her skill and strength. However, his older sister Suk-kyung was displeased by this, and watched as Ra bossed Ha-young around, directing her exactly where to place the clip. After some awkward adjustments, it was finally set. Suk-kyung was shocked to see her sister taking on the role of Ra's personal stylist, and was about to intervene, but Ra, acting like the lady of the house, ignored her and continued as usual. Suk-kyung noticed that Ra barely touched her breakfast, and asked why she wasn't eating. Ra explained that it was different from her usual breakfast, listing an exotic and high-end ingredients like avocado, gluten-free bread, coconut chocolate, and special spices. Ha-young was amazed by Ra's luxurious tastes, while Suk-kyung, annoyed, tried to take away the food, but before she could, Ra quickly grabbed a big bite and started praising the flavors. Ra expressed how much she missed such rich, flavorful food, and cheerfully reminisced about her favorite dishes. Suk-kyung, proud of her cooking skills, asked if Ra would like more rice and meat, which delighted Ra, who hadn't had a proper meal in ages. Suk-kyung, feeling fulfilled as Ra's personal chef, insisted that she eat more. Ra, who had fallen on hard times, gained not only a personal chef, but also free housing. After her accident, she had nowhere to go and was deeply in debt to Sunwoo, owing him nearly 10 million. To help her repay him, Sunwoo brought her to stay in his home. The two shared a small space, which quickly caught the attention of Ha-young and the doctor, both concerned about the possibility of growing affection between the two. As Ha-young, who has feelings for Sunwoo, Ha-young came looking for Sunwoo, and was displeased to see Ra around. Seung-gi offered to buy Ha-young a burger, and Ra shamelessly asked for one too. Seung-gi was surprised by Ra's boldness, and turned back to look at her, only to see Ra wink at her playfully. Seung-gi couldn't help but marvel at Ra's skill in getting free meals. She was truly a master at it. Meanwhile, Sunwoo showed his romantic side by creating a custom room for Ra, complete with fairy lights, a dream catcher, and her name displayed. Ra was touched and speechless, feeling like a princess. She was so moved that she tried to hug Sunwoo in gratitude, but he stepped back, leaving her awkwardly hugging her dog instead. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and a piano was delivered. Ra thought Sunwoo had bought it for her, but he quickly denied it. The gift was actually from the mysterious person, who left her a message saying it was a small present, and that they would meet in 2 weeks. Sunwoo then suggested that Ra open a piano studio in the room to support herself, as it required no upfront investment. On the same day, Dr. Unsok visited a salon intending to get a new hairstyle, only for Sunwoo's sister to instantly develop a crush on him. However, she was unaware that the doctor also had feelings for Ra. Later, the doctor thanked Sunwoo for helping Ra set up the studio, which annoyed Sunwoo, as he felt it wasn't his place to express gratitude. The doctor then revealed that the groom who left Ra at the altar was his own brother, and assumed Sunwoo was taking care of Ra out of pity. The doctor asked Ra if she found Sunwoo's life suspicious. Ra replied that she knew he had secrets, but would wait for him to share them when he was ready. At a cosmetics store, a man purchased a set of makeup from Sunwoo, all the while staring at him, which made him feel uncomfortable. Later that night, Ra returned home. She found a gift hanging by her door. Inside was the same makeup set, which she assumed Sunwoo had gifted her, so she sent him a message to thank him. Sunwoo was confused, wondering who the man was. Despite her previous misfortune, Ra was living a princess life again. Ha-young would style Ra's hair every day, with Ra praising her skills as comparable to those of a professional. Suk-kyung saw Ha-young being treated like an assistant, and was displeased, questioning if Ha-young was now Ra's personal stylist. She insisted they go out for a meal instead, not one to miss an opportunity to flatter Suk-kyung. Ra eagerly complimented her for preparing sandwiches. Suk-kyung was delighted, eagerly waiting for Ra's praise. As soon as Ra took a bite, she couldn't stop eating. Suk-kyung, feeling proud of her cooking, offered to make more for Ra to bring to work. Ra happily agreed. Ra's piano studio struggled to attract students, so Sunwoo paid her first tuition fee, declaring he would be her first student. Ra, touched, nearly hugged him again. Then the doctor arrived, wanting to be her second student, which made Sunwoo feel competitive. Later, since it was on his way, the doctor offered to drive Ra home each day, further upsetting Sunwoo. Determined to win her affection, Sunwoo asked what her greatest wish was, to which Ra replied it was to have a top-tier steak and a luxurious breakfast. Though Sunwoo initially declined, it was clear he was considering how to fulfill her wish. The next morning, Sunwoo prepared a special breakfast for Ra, and then went out to get the specific vegetables and ingredients she wanted. He even went to a bakery to find the exact bread Ra had mentioned. When Ra returned to her room at noon, she found another identical makeup set on her bed. Confused, she asked Sunwoo why he had bought 2 of the same set. Sunwoo, equally surprised, said he only bought 1 set, and they both realized that a mysterious person had been watching Ra and sending gifts. Unexpectedly, Ra also discovered that Sunwoo was the son of a wealthy businessman and was actually still a senior in high school. She also noticed that Sunwoo seemed to have grown taller again. To verify, she tried to measure his height, but she accidentally slipped, and he caught her. This moment created a spark between them, and Sunwoo almost leaned in to kiss her. Ra ended up bumping into him, causing him to get a nosebleed. Later, still suspicious, Ra looked up whether people can grow taller after senior year, and found that they typically don't. Feeling confused, she burst into Ha-young's salon, startling her so much that she accidentally cut a client's hair too short. Ra then asked everyone at the salon about when men usually stop growing taller, but no one gave her a clear answer. Embarrassed, Ha-young tried to appease the client by not charging any fees. However, that night, the same client returned to the salon and put glue on the door handle. The next morning, when Ha-young opened the salon, her hand got stuck to the door, and Ra rushed over to help. Then a mysterious man, Jong-nam, arrived and expressed interest in signing up for Ra's piano lessons, which made her happy. When he visited the piano studio, he noticed photos of Ra with other people, and his gaze turned hateful. Jong-nam insisted on paying extra so he could attend lessons more frequently. Meanwhile, the doctor found Sunwoo and almost revealed his real identity, but held back because his own identity was also hidden. He was not only the ex-husband of Ra-Ra's friend, but also her brother-in-law. If he exposed Sunwoo, his own secrets would come to light as well. The doctor admitted that he already knew everything about him, and asked him to at least tell Ra-Ra the truth, and reveal he is still in high school. On Sunwoo's 18th birthday, his parents didn't return until late. His friend Jong-nam left but got into a car accident and passed away. Rumors spread among schoolmates that he orchestrated it on purpose to surpass Jong-nam and be the top student. In sadness, he handed in a blank test paper. His father found out and beat him severely, accusing him of overreacting to a friend's death. Sunwoo, hearing his father's disregard for human life, left home in anger. His mother, worried the truth would be discovered, hired a private detective to find him. One day, the private detective finally found out Sunwoo's whereabouts, and it happened to be the day Ra-Ra was scheduled to meet the mysterious Dota Sol Sol Lala Sol. She waited eagerly, but instead, a man in black showed up. Ra-Ra was happy to see him, realizing he had been helping her secretly all along. Then the doctor also appeared. Ra-Ra excitedly thanked the man in black, but he didn't understand her at all. It turned out that Ra-Ra had mistaken him for someone else. In the end, she waited the whole day, but the mysterious person never appeared. Meanwhile, Grandpa told Sunwoo that someone was looking for him, so he lied to them, saying Sunwoo left for another city a month ago. But Sunwoo realized that it was no longer safe here. That night, Ra-Ra received another message from the mysterious person, saying he hoped tonight's stars would bring her luck. Looking at the message, Ra-Ra suddenly realized something and ran out. She rushed to the piano classroom, noticing the blessing words on a flower pot from the doctor, which matched the tone of the mysterious person exactly. Ra-Ra thought about it. The doctor wasn't supposed to be there today, yet he had come, hesitating to say something all along. Ra-Ra figured out that the doctor was the mysterious person she had been looking for. Just then, Sunwoo suddenly returned, startling Ra-Ra. Seeing that Ra-Ra was dressed lightly, Sunwoo gave her his coat. Ra-Ra then told him that she already knew the identity of the mysterious person. Sunwoo was shocked and asked who it was. Ra-Ra explained her reasoning, but Sunwoo joked that he himself was the mysterious person. To prove her point, the next day Ra-Ra made breakfast and personally delivered it to the doctor. The doctor was delighted by the gesture. He asked Jong-nam to join him for a class with Ra-Ra. Sunwoo, seeing Jong-nam, felt he looked familiar, but couldn't remember him. Jong-nam instructed Ra-Ra, and for the first few lessons, he wanted Ra-Ra to handle the lesson while he just observed. Ra-Ra found this request strange, but didn't overthink it. Sunwoo, still uneasy, went to Ha-young's shop and noticed Ra-Ra was talking with Jong-nam. He opened the door, telling Ha-young not to close it and to keep an eye on things. After Sunwoo left, Jong-nam noticed the door move and quickly shut it. Meanwhile, Sunwoo's mother, Yoon-sil, was looking for him and saw Sunwoo and Ra-Ra together. She immediately asked the driver to stop the car and rushed out, but by the time she approached, both Sunwoo and Jong-nam had disappeared, leaving only Ra-Ra, who was eating something. Yoon-sil noticed Ra-Ra and, after a moment of recognizing her, recalled that she was the daughter of a wealthy family who had recently gone bankrupt after her marriage was called off. She walked away, feeling some distaste. As Yoon-sil thought about it, she became more curious about Ra-Ra's situation and wondered how she had gotten involved in a relationship. Later, Sunwoo took Ra-Ra to a shop to help her buy an air conditioner. Ra-Ra felt that she owed Sunwoo too much and didn't want to accept the gift. Sunwoo made an excuse, saying it was for her dog. He asked Ra-Ra why the store clerk had asked if they were a married couple. She quickly denied it, but Ra-Ra explained that she had been married once before. She didn't want Sunwoo to be misunderstood because of this. Sunwoo then asked her to stretch out her hand, and Ra-Ra thought he was about to confess his feelings. However, he surprised her by giving her some supplements to help boost her energy. Meanwhile, Ha-young noticed how close Ra-Ra and the doctor had become and decided to play matchmaker. Ha-young deliberately arranged for Ra-Ra to meet the doctor at the cinema, hoping they would watch a movie together. Sunwoo waited at home, but Ra-Ra didn't come back. Suddenly, he remembered that Seung-gi had been trying to set Ra-Ra up with the doctor, and he panicked. He rushed to the cinema. At the cinema, Ra was watching a horror film and screamed in fear, dropping her phone. As she bent down to pick it up, the doctor suddenly grabbed her hand. Ra looked at him, but then her phone rang, and it was Sunwoo calling. Holding her hand, the doctor confessed his feelings to her. However, Ra immediately rejected him. Sunwoo arrived just in time and took Ra away. He realized he could no longer delay his feelings. The next day, Sunwoo made a romantic confession to Ra. The two finally confirmed their feelings for each other and officially started dating. But at this moment, Da-hae sneaked into the piano classroom and discovered a photo of Sunwoo. He quickly called Yoon-sil. Yoon-sil saw the call but, not wanting her husband to notice, hesitated to answer. Da-hae grew anxious, remembering how Yoon-sil had threatened him before that if he couldn't find the person, she will fire him. He noticed the man in black at the door and assumed he was from a new detective agency hired by Yoon-sil. He immediately grabbed the man's ankle and cursed it. The man in black, who is Jung-nam, was utterly confused, quickly escaped. Da-hae, unsatisfied, chased after him. As he ran, Jung-nam disappeared from sight, but suddenly reappeared from behind and knocked Da-hae out. Jung-nam searched through Da-hae's pockets, taking his phone and wallet. Just then, Suk-kyung passed by. Suk-kyung saw Da-hae lying on the ground, covered in blood, and immediately called for help. After taking the phone, Jung-nam unlocked it and saw Sunwoo's photo, realizing something was wrong. The next day, Jung-nam brought a flower basket as a gift for Ra, hoping to have lunch with her, but Ra refused, telling him not to do anything other than attend class. Hearing this, Jung-nam let out a cold laugh, leaving Ra confused. Just as Jung-nam was about to leave, some neighboring aunts came out. They saw the flowers and asked if they were for Ra. Unexpectedly, Jung-nam threw the flowers next to the trash can, saying he was throwing them away. The aunts immediately sensed something was wrong and quickly called Ra to join them for lunch. Ra told Jung-nam that she would transfer the payment to him through her phone. Ra began to sense that Jung-nam wasn't as gentle as he appeared. Then, Jung-nam brought a new set of cosmetics to Ra. Sunwoo realized that the person who gifted the cosmetics to Ra was Jung-nam. Jung-nam had forcibly broken a boy's arm just because he was Ra's favorite student. Today, Ra brought the boy to a piano competition. She noticed that something seemed wrong with him, but he didn't mention his arm injury. During the performance, he could only play with one hand, as his right hand couldn't move. At a glance, the doctor noticed something was off. The boy shed tears. Ra thought of herself as a child, stood up, and applauded for the boy. After the competition, the doctor asked the boy how he got injured and learned that it was Jung-nam's doing. On the way back, Ha-young suddenly called saying Ra had disappeared, and her phone couldn't be reached. Sunwoo went out alone to search and found Ra's phone lying on the ground. He asked the doctor to go to the police, while he went to confront Jung-nam. He had already investigated and knew Jung-nam was suspicious, so he secretly followed him and found his home address. Sunwoo arrived at the house, where he discovered it was filled with photos of Ra. Not only that, but he also found Ra's student ID. It turned out that when Ra was in college, she accidentally bumped into Jung-nam, who instantly fell in love with her and became obsessed. At this moment, Ra was tied to a chair by Jung-nam. She regained consciousness but couldn't move, asking Jung-nam what he really wanted. Just then, Sunwoo arrived. Hearing the sound, Ra wanted to shout, but her mouth was covered by the man. She quickly moved and knocked over the chair. Sunwoo heard the noise and rushed over. Finding Ra lying on the ground, he immediately punched the Jung-nam. The two were locked in a struggle, but eventually, Sunwoo kicked Jung-nam onto a table, knocking him unconscious. Sunwoo sat beside him. Soon, the police arrived after a call and took Sunwoo away. His mother discovered that her son was in love with a bankrupt heiress and a woman abandoned by someone else, which made her extremely angry. After Ra woke up, she tried to find Sunwoo but encountered Da-mei on her way out. Da-mei revealed that Sunwoo was the son of a wealthy family and a high school senior. Ra was shocked by the revelation. She immediately ran to the police station to find Sunwoo. The police discovered Jung-nam's criminal record and released Sunwoo without charge. When Ra arrived at the police station, Sunwoo had already left. She sat on the stairs, crying in sadness. Sunwoo returned home, and he continuously looked for ways to escape and meet Rara. Finally, he found an opportunity and had Seunggi escape in his place. When Rara saw Sunwoo, she cried in excitement. Sunwoo confessed all his secrets to her, explaining that he had seen her at her graduation concert and had even taken photos of her with friends. He had fallen for her at first sight. Soon, his mother, Yoon-sil, arrived, and Sunwoo returned home. Under Rara's advice, he began studying arts. The two kept in touch daily through phone calls. However, Yoon-sil later found Rara and asked her to stay away from her son. Rara understood the differences in age and social standing between herself and Sunwoo, so she agreed to never meet him again. 6 months later, Rara's ex-husband suddenly saw on his phone that Rara and the doctor were planning a wedding. Sunwoo, who had been nearby, heard this and grabbed his bag, rushing to the wedding venue. At that moment, the doctor and Rara were exchanging rings. Just as they were about to finish the ceremony, Sunwoo pushed the door open and walked in. Rara was extremely surprised to see him. Sunwoo quickly walked up, took Rara's hand, and ran out with her. The scene looked like Sunwoo was interrupting a wedding. However, Rara told him that it was just a fake wedding, meant for promoting a bridal shop, and Sunwoo had ruined the live broadcast. But this made Sunwoo realize that no matter what happened, he wasn't going to let go of Rara's hand again. It was at this moment that the melodramatic twist appeared. Sunwoo was diagnosed with leukemia. When Yoon-sil, Sunwoo's mother, found out, she deeply regretted it, feeling that her pressure on her son had caused this outcome. Sunwoo, facing an uncertain life, needed to start cancer treatment immediately. To avoid burdening Rara, he deliberately suggested breaking up with her. Rara, heartbroken, believed that Sunwoo no longer loved her. Seunggi, seeing the sudden breakup, became suspicious. He asked Big Black to investigate the truth. To his surprise, Big Black returned with a pile of photos showing Sunwoo with another girl, claiming that Sunwoo had a new girlfriend. After returning home, Rara found herself surrounded by Sunwoo's belongings and memories. Then, she received a call from her new piano teacher, who informed her that she was returning to her home country the next day. The next day, when Rara arrived at the airport, she unexpectedly saw Sunwoo. Just as she was about to approach him, a woman walked over and called out to him. Sunwoo saw Rara but pretended not to notice, and walked away. In reality, Sunwoo was just sending a friend off for studying abroad. Rara couldn't believe that Sunwoo would like someone else. She took the photos and went to Big Black, demanding the truth. Unable to avoid it, Big Black finally confessed that it was all part of Sunwoo's plan to make him take the pictures. As for the reason, Big Black didn't know. After returning home, Rara looked at Sunwoo, who was wearing glasses, and suddenly found him very serious and cool. Thinking of this, Rara rushed to Sunwoo's house, only to be told that he had gone abroad and wouldn't be back anytime soon. She sadly walked to the coffee shop where they first met, and discovered that the shop was named Dota Sol Sol Lala Sol. At that moment, she realized that Dota Sol Sol Lala Sol was Sunwoo. Rara took out her phone and left a message for Sunwoo, saying that she now knew everything and missed him very much. At that moment, Sunwoo, who was on his way to the airport, saw Lola's message. He immediately got off the car and ran toward her. Rara was very surprised to see Sunwoo. Then Sunwoo told Rara that he was going abroad for his studies and might not return for years, or perhaps never at all. He hoped that Rara would forget about him. Sunwoo asked his mother for 2 more days to say goodbye to Rara. His mother, feeling sorry for her son, agreed. When Sunwoo returned home, he took out a pair of rings and put one on Rara's finger, and so, the two of them spent their last moments together. Rara sent Sunwoo abroad, unaware that he was going for treatment, not for studying. Rara had no idea. They still talked on the phone every day, and Rara decided to propose to him. She planned to perform a piano duet with him on Christmas Day and surprise him. Although Sunwoo was in the hospital receiving treatment, he continued to practice piano in his room every day so that Rara wouldn't notice anything unusual. On Christmas Day, Rara held a concert and eagerly awaited Sunwoo's arrival, but he never showed up. Instead, she received a message from him saying that his flight had been delayed and he couldn't make it. However, he had sent her a video of his performance, asking her to play along. At the concert, Ra played the video of Sunwoo's performance, and the two of them completed the duet from a distance. Later, Sunwoo's mother came to tell Ra the truth. She explained that the message had been sent by her, and the video was filmed a month earlier by Sunwoo. Mother cried and confirmed the truth, but Ra couldn't believe it. 5 years later, Ra, through hard work, became one of the most famous piano teachers in the country. The doctor had reconciled with his ex-wife and decided to rebuild their family. While everything seemed to be going well for everyone else, Ra still struggled to move on from Sunwoo. Then, one day, Sunwoo reappeared in her life. When Ra saw him, she was shocked, thinking she was imagining things. But Sunwoo opened his arms to her, and Ra couldn't hold back her tears as she embraced him. It turned out that Sunwoo had not died as she thought. He had fought against the illness for 5 years and had fully recovered. Finally, they shared a gentle kiss. Thanks for watching.